What is up, 𝖓𝖾իսቱ유itis? So I figured since I am going to be home for a little while, I'll update you very quickly to keep this short and sweet, but I have a mini wiener dog, Casey, developed an issue with her back. It has to do with spine, has individual bones, and then in between there are discs, like padding in between. And apparently she received strain on the lower part of her back from just being a general goofy, bouncy, all over the place dog. It also has to do with her being a dachshund, and it affects their back. They're more prone because of how long they are. She is cage bound for the next week or so to prevent any more injury done to the back itself. At first, when we figured this out, we took her to the vet because she was crying and upset. They gave her medicine and told us to let her take it easy. Got even worse from just being able to walk the little bit she was and getting back to her normal self. She didn't have any idea of her limitations. Cage is just temporary to get her from moving around and to give her some proper rest because she doesn't know when to rest because medicine makes her feel a lot better. She has been doing a lot better, and I just want to ask for any prayers. Say a prayer for Casey to get better, but I do believe that she is getting to a point where she is going to be better in the next coming week. She will be off meds, and my little stubborn wiener dog, but she's doing a lot better. She was in pain previously, but now she's back to her normal goofy self. She's still a little bit sedated because of the medication, but transitioning now to the main topic of the video, I want to fully recommend this, and I love to do these type of videos because I know a lot of my audience struggles with anxiety and depression, and they ask me best ways to counteract anxiety and depression. So I stumbled upon an article with St. John's wort. Now, you guys know I constantly get on and off Paxil being the only antidepressant that I ever had work for me. But the downside is that I have noticeable side effects, including weight gain, that regardless of how much effort I put in, I, no matter what, usually gain the weight. So it's like a constant battle between losing and gaining. You're trying to go to the losing side. The Paxil constantly makes you gain the weight back. It is very defeating, especially when I put so much time and effort in it. If you guys know, I went from 207 pounds at the beginning of my journey on Paxil. I stayed on Paxil while doing this, and I got down to 175, which was my lowest, but I didn't look 175. I don't know if that's because Paxil always kept me gaining or what. My normal 175 didn't look like Paxil 175, if that makes sense. I have been messing around with all kinds of natural things. I've tried ashwagandha. Ashwagandha still kept me eating nonstop and just doing things that I similarly would do with Paxil. Can help with some people, but for me it wasn't the particular one. But there was other ones that I've tried too. 5-HTP works for some people, didn't really necessarily work for me. But I always kind of strayed away of the idea of, I've been staying away from this one herb just because I have been seeing mixed reviews with it. And I do feel like there's a lot of things online that try to scare people away from natural remedies because of the big pharmaceutical companies wanting to have their share. They want people to get on antidepressants, and they want people to spend money on antidepressants, and they want people to be addicted to antidepressants. This is the first medicine that I've taken, and in the amount of only 2 days taking, it has done amazing things, and I'd like to share these with you and hopefully kind of sell you guys on at least trying this out, especially if you're stressed due to the COVID situation. That's why I like to mention these things now, as of always, because a lot of people are without jobs, and they are now stuck inside their own heads because they can't stay as busy as they normally would like to. And that's always been kind of the case with me working for myself. I do find that there's always downtime, and I always can get stuck in my head. So first thing I've noticed, I did discontinue Paxil and then gave it enough time for the half-life of the medicine. Disclaimer, you're not supposed to take St. John's wort with certain medications, so you should check on the list and also check with your doctor if you have certain pharmaceutical drugs that you take. I don't really take anything at all except antidepressants. So antidepressants, I could discontinue and wait for the half-life of the medication and then start St. John's wort. I watched so many videos, did so much research, and I found that 60% success rate with St. John's wort versus Paxil, which is the antidepressant I was on, had a 50% success rate. So only half the amount of people on Paxil actually said it worked, versus 60%. So there's a higher success rate on St. John's wort. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. There has been research done in Germany, a lot of research done in Germany about St. John's wort. And I don't know what necessarily kept me away from it, but I finally decided, hey, what's it going to hurt? I think when I decided that I was going to do this is when everything started to line up. Was looking at this brand that I have now that is called Nature's Way. This is like one of the best rated companies on Amazon. Also, though, the studies that I read for the St. John's wort done in Germany was actually the same brand too. So I figured if everything is lining up like this, it must be a sign to at least give it a shot. Let me tell you what, I usually get horrible withdrawal. That is one thing I can notice off the bat. When I stop my antidepressant, Paxil being the worst one I've experienced so far, I get brain zaps, I feel terrible, I feel anxious, I feel more depressed. Paxil for about 3 weeks now. I had to switch from Cymbalta, which Cymbalta actually made me so tired in the 2-month period of trying to adjust, and I constantly reached out to doctors saying, I'm so tired, I can't wake up, I literally can't get out of bed, and that's a problem. Obviously, if you're already depressed and stuff, you don't want the sedated to the point of no return effect either. Switching from Cymbalta to Paxil, I've been on Paxil 3 weeks. I took a St. John's wort when I got it. Experiencing withdrawal from the half-life of Paxil. It is longer than others, but it's around like 21 hours, I think, for your body to get rid of it, and it had been right around like 24, 25 hours, and I started to get the brain zaps already. This stuff is so potent. This stuff is so powerful. I'm taking 2 capsules, which equal out to be 700 milligrams of St. John's wort. I haven't gotten any withdrawal symptoms after I started taking this. It actually wipes away my withdrawal. Now, the only thing you have to pay attention to is St. John's wort's half-life is around 9 hours, so it's a lot shorter than Paxil. So I decided that I was going to take 1 pill when I wake up, morning, and then 1 at night before I go to bed. Now it's the 2nd day on St. John's wort, and I want to tell you guys straight up off the bat, if you have ever imagined going back in time to when you were happy, when you were a kid and you were genuinely happy, which I feel a lot of people do. A lot of people, once they experience a depressive state or an anxious state and you constantly are in that mindset, I feel like everybody goes back to the time of, I wonder what it would feel like to be a kid again, to have no worries, no stress, genuinely happy and not knowing the depression and the anxiety. I'm sure so many of you people can relate when I say this. That's what this does. I'm not even bullshitting you. They say that you have to give it up to 3 to 4 weeks, but it is common. It is common for people to find relief this fast on it, and there is actually a Reddit post about this where people have actually felt the response of their body and St. John's wort in as little as a day. And I'm going to tell you right now, I know for a fact that this is not a placebo effect, because a placebo effect would not stop my withdrawal. I could never stop my withdrawal. The only thing I found to counteract my withdrawal, and it was only like probably 50%, was taking Benadryl. If you've ever experienced brain zaps, it sucks. It's the worst feeling ever. It's probably the worst withdrawal symptom of an antidepressant. This actually completely relieves it. Now, the amazing part is there was a lot of posts about how it can help with depression, but not necessarily anxiety. Well, my problem is I'm more anxious than anything else. My anxiety creates my depression. In as little as 2 days, this St. John's wort has already turned me around. I would say out of 10, I'm probably at a 6.5, 7. I have to give it up to another 2 to 3 weeks for the full result, and if you guys would like to see a part 2 on this, I will do a part 2 once I reach that. At least give it a shot. Make sure it's okay with your health provider, or at least check to make sure that you're not taking anything that interacts with it. You can just do a simple Google search to find out what it interacts with. I haven't felt this good in forever. I literally just pounded out an hour-long workout and sustained the workout like it was nothing. I honestly was pushing myself, and I'm already feeling like amazing. I'm feeling good. Usually wouldn't be able to even push myself like that on an antidepressant. It feels almost like what I did in high school. I used to work out all the time. That was my biggest passion in high school. Then I got depressed and I fell out of that routine. And as you guys know, a routine, something like lifting or doing exercise, isn't necessarily the easiest thing to get back into. I feel as though I have somehow brought back my younger self. Almost like when you take them, you can feel that anxiety and the depression melt away. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it literally like makes it feel like your body is just melting it away. And within 20 to 40 minutes of taking this, I feel so much better. And there are different dosages. You have to check online for all this kind of stuff. I don't want to be someone that tells you guys straight up, because everyone's going to be different that watches this. I paid $13 for it, so this is actually cheaper than my Cymbalta. And almost was cheaper than my Paxil. Paxil being like one of the most inexpensive antidepressants I've ever taken. It's usually equals out to be like $3 to $4 a month. This was around $4. But yeah, guys, I want to fully advocate this, and the only reason I am making a video on this is I want other people to at least give this a try and maybe understand how I feel so they can feel the same way. If you find something that works for you, you find something that's like a secret to happiness, you should share that with the world. You should help others out. If I could at least make 10% of you that watch this video try this out and notice how I feel, I would feel accomplished, because I believe that at least half of you that try this would notice an amazing change in your mind. No one can see truly what goes on in your mind, and that is one of the most craziest parts of life, is that you could go your whole life not feeling great. No one can realize that. People can hide and protect themselves from putting themselves out there with how they feel, and that can be detrimental. A lot of people result in taking their own lives and stuff, and I've seen so much of that on the news recently with COVID and everything like that, that I would like to at least make a change. Even if it's small, it would feel amazing to me to be able to know that I can do something for people, and this is something I truly believe in. I do believe that this is almost like a godsend for a natural remedy, because in comparison to every other antidepressant, every other natural remedy I've tried, and let me tell you guys what, I have tried over 7 or 8 antidepressants, and I've tried about 6 or 7 natural remedies. Never would have thought I would take, but ended up taking, and fully recommend it to you guys. I hope this helped. Let me know if you guys have any questions down in the comments down below. I love you. Make sure to be happy, stress less. I'll see you in the next one. As always,